Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. It's me, Captain Logan, and joining me, as always, is my wonderful chat moderator and producer, DJ Martinez, who's apparently directing air traffic right now. I wasn't sure what you were doing there, DJ. I was like, oh no, did something go wrong? I thought you were like trying to direct my attention to like, no, Cap. The show hasn't even started. You've ruined it. Nobody can see what you're doing right now.
I was trying to point to you, but as always happens, every single time on a live stream, I point the wrong way because it's flipped.
Oh,
I can never, ever get used to that.
See, the only way you can be sure is if you did this, but then, you know, maybe you're pointing to the viewers. Maybe you're pointing to your computer monitor. Who knows?
Gotta keep them guessing.
Thanks for joining us tonight, folks. It is 7 o'clock on a Thursday, and that means it's time for more news and whatever you guys want to chat about. Tonight's lead-in topic is going to be more Netflix shenanigans. Netflix is now going to start trying to penalize people financially for sharing accounts. There's been a lot of talk lately that they're going to do something to try to mitigate shared users, that they want to crack down on that somehow, and now it is leaked how exactly they're doing that from, I think, a shareholder meeting. We'll read a couple of articles on this here in a little bit. It's spicy, folks. Let's see if this ends up being the last big nail in the Netflix coffin. It seems like a really poor choice in my mind with them. I wouldn't be worrying about the nickels and dimes with that so much as just keeping people's attention and making people want to. Who cares if they're spreading their accounts? People are losing their accounts anyway. They don't even care about Netflix anymore. This seems like the last thing they should be worried about is people sharing their accounts. Anyway, so I've already done the lead-in topic. That's how I feel about it.
Moving on.
We're also, of course, doing an Ask Me Anything show, and we'll talk about whatever you guys would like to talk about within reason when we're finished with the lead-in topic, and I suspect that one won't take a real long time. But hey, if you guys want to talk about Netflix and streaming wars and all that for the whole show, feel free to keep us running that way. We will let you direct the conversation to a massive degree. You can leave a super chat in any dollar amount during the show. That guarantees that we'll talk about whatever you'd like us to chat about, and that keeps things moving here on the channel and keeps this as a viable thing for me to do, and I really appreciate you guys so very much. But if you can't do that, don't want to do that, you're awesome just for being here. We really, really appreciate it. You can also support us at Patreon, patreon.com/geekvolution, if you're interested in doing that. Lots of cool perks there. But once again, need of you just to be here and leave a regular comment. DJ will throw as many of those as possible at me as well throughout the show. See, I'm not sure who you're pointing at. It really could be anyone at this point.
Never know, man.
He's in a Western. He's like shooting at the sky.
I don't know what's going on tonight. Sorry, guys. Getting us off the rails early.
Make sure and tag DJ if there is a topic you'd like us to try to tackle, and we'll do some pre-written things as well. You can tag DJ at DJ Martinez, at The Welder, at High Noon. He'll answer to any of these things and more. DJ, are you ready to jump right into the lead-in topic?
Let's do it.
Let me do actually a real quick announcement and say tomorrow night, 10 o'clock Central, the insanity of my weekend begins. We're going to be doing a 24-hour stream here on the channel, watching tons and tons of episodes of DCAU shows. We're going to watch some Batman, Superman, Justice League Unlimited, Batman Beyond, even Static Shock. Jump in anytime during those 24 hours and watch some TV with us, watch some cartoons. I'm going to have Austin there for the first leg, and then several other people throughout the day are going to pop in and help me out. And DJ, I think, and if you have time to come in for an hour or two, you're still certainly welcome, of course, but I think I have somebody slated for almost or every hour of the show right now. Unless somebody has to pull out for some reason or can't be there for as long as they've told me that they can, I may not be alone for that entire 24 hours.
Wow, that's awesome. Because I know you were worried you weren't going to be able to do that, so that's really cool that it worked out.
Yeah, well, and I don't mind doing some of it by myself, but it just kind of worked out that way. Like, I reached out to everybody and said, you know, what times would you like to be here? And I wasn't even suggesting anything in particular to anybody, and weirdly, it all lined up. We're like, this person was able to be there right after Austin, and then this person
Wow.
like the evening, and then somebody filled in between there, and like it just kind of worked out that way. Nobody's schedules overlapped. It was really strange.
Real suspicious, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's like the universe really wants the stream to work, and I don't know why the universe cares about me, the DCAU, or live streaming, but it's coalescing to my will right now, and I'll take it.
Man, that sounds good.
Anyway, if you're so
Is.
inclined, come in and hang out with us. It's going to be a really fun time. Also want to say real quick that there is another TeePublic sale for t-shirts going on right now, and I'll probably mention that a little bit in the live stream over the weekend. I might do a giveaway or two, not sure yet, but go to the link in the description, our affiliate link, and you can get cheaper Geekvolution t-shirts there. Go check that out. Anyway, let's go ahead and get right into our lead-in topic. Thanks again, everybody, for being here tonight. So this comes from marketwatch.com, and this article dropped a couple days ago, and I think was updated a little bit yesterday. So this is brand spanking new news. Netflix Inc. executives on Tuesday detailed their plans to crack down on users sharing their accounts on the streaming service, which is expected to arrive early next year. And DJ, this seems like a thing that they were trying to kind of sweep under the rug and not make real big news, but of course it's out, and everybody knows about it now.
No secrets these days. Yeah, I heard about this a while. I think we both heard about this a long time ago, but now we just have more details. We just heard rumblings that it was going to happen.
Well, all I ever heard was crackdown, and I didn't exactly know what that meant. I was like, how exactly are they going to stop people from sharing accounts? Well, here's how they're going to attempt to do it. In a letter to shareholders in conjunction with their third quarter earnings report, Netflix executives said they would offer those currently using other people's accounts an option to transfer that profile to their own subscription. Now, keep in mind that a lot of these people don't have subscriptions right now already, and there's this kind of like McDonald's level assumption they're making that, of course, these people are going to have their own Netflix accounts if they aren't able to use other people's accounts. I got news for you, Netflix. There's a lot of options, and you guys don't have anything like the programming that you used to. A lot of people, if they can't get it for free, are going to vie to just not bother.
Yeah.
But let's continue. Again, that's my opinion. We might as well move on from the lead-in topic. They also offer account holders the option of establishing, quote, sub-accounts, paying more to allow other users to use their Netflix service. How many people do you think are going to actually use that?
And how much does it cost?
Yeah, well, I don't think they've said exactly yet, so I guess we'll find out. And I'm jumping ahead. I should just read the article, but
I'm just a giving person.
I keep interrupting because this just seems like an ill-advised idea. So a couple things real quick before we continue. First of all, this sounds like a cell phone company. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, if all these things had been in place when Netflix initially launched, people might have been okay with it. Like, it would have set a precedent because Netflix was the first big streaming service, and so you could have gotten ahead of it like the cell phone companies did, right? Where like, oh, you can have a package deal, you can do a family plan, or you can have your own thing. And
well, that's how Spotify is, and Apple Music.
Yeah. No, good call. And it isn't really possible to share a Spotify account. Yeah, that's a really good point, because if you're because you can only use it on one device at a time, and if you're a single user and you didn't buy a family plan and you're just playing music, if somebody else in your house on a different device tries to start playing music, they like steal it away from you. Like, you can't do it at the same time. But I want to say it was set up that way at the beginning, or real early on, and like people have just kind of accepted that. But Netflix has allowed this for too long is the problem. And also, Spotify is, just using that example, is the only option for precisely what they offer. Like, there's other music options, but nothing else works precisely like Spotify. Like, they have they have competition, but it's not really the same thing as Netflix, where it's becoming easier and easier to still stream lots of TV and movies that you want to watch and not bother with Netflix anymore, is the point I'm making. And so, like, a lot of people, this is going to get complicated enough that I think a lot of people are going to say, I don't need Netflix anymore. Or I'll come in and pay for it for a month to binge the thing I want to binge and then leave. And I hear from people all the time, like, you're not the only person that has Netflix pretty far down on your list now as, like, a service that you feel like you need or watch a lot. Like, a lot of people just don't care anymore.
Yeah, I don't like a lot of choices they make with their UI, and they've flooded it with so many crappy originals that like the brand is just so damaged at this point. They bring out new originals, it feels like every week, that are like straight to DVD like teen movies that are horrible, and I can't sift through all that. Like I look at the top 10. They put like their own top 10 that's like most popular. I don't even trust
Which
them.
I never trust.
Yeah, it's all their new stuff usually, and I look through it. I'm like, none of this looks like anything I want to watch.
But sometimes there's also a really crappy movie from the 90s that nobody liked back then that's also on the top 10, and you're like, no. You guys are making this, and I don't know why you're pretending like that. It's like, we really want to get people to click on this for some reason. I don't even always understand what the strategy is. But look, Netflix will still put out originals that I'm interested in, particularly documentaries and documentary series and stuff. But overall, the reputation anyway. Oh, I'm sorry, what were you saying?
I think their Dahmer one is really huge right now.
Yeah, and I want to watch that. I haven't taken a look at that yet. But do you agree with this, DJ? We'll get back to the article. I think the reputation for Netflix right now, anyway, is they've become what YouTube Red was for the 5 minutes that it started. Like, it feels like glorified YouTube to some degree because they got to where they were greenlighting everything, and they've said they're going to stop doing as much of that, and they want to do more like summer blockbuster type stuff that doesn't go to theaters and just goes to. It's too little, too late now.
Yeah, I think Knives Out 2 is getting a full-on like theater release, like wide, which is a Netflix exclusive, which is interesting. That's a new thing for Netflix to do. That's totally off topic, but it's just another Netflix thing.
Well, they will have some things that will entice people to stick with them or to jump back in for a little bit. But I think in the name of the game with a streaming service, and we keep talking about how these things have so far not apparently been all that profitable anyway. Like it's hard to stay in the green with a streaming service. So it's going to be interesting to see what the model does within the next 5 years. But it seems like the name of the game with maintaining a streaming service is, and this is what Disney does so well, however you feel about their practices, keep people feeling like they have to stay subscribed month to month. And Netflix has become one of the worst at that, I think. Where it's so easy to come in for the thing you want with Netflix and leave and not stay on it 12 months of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, you just, and that's kind of what I don't pay for Netflix. I think my wife uses our parent. Oh, yeah, we use her parents still. So
okay, well, they're going to start getting
exactly
nickel and dimed for that, or you're going to have to start paying for your own. But I know what you're going to do. You're going to say, I don't care anymore. Thanks, but no thanks. That's what you're going to do.
Yeah, I would have canceled it. If we owned it, I would have canceled it a long time ago, but Grace is the only one that watches it.
Okay, so check this out. Here's the letter that they sent to their stockholders. We've landed on a thoughtful approach to monetize account sharing, and we'll begin rolling this out more broadly starting in early 2023. After listening to consumer feedback, we are going to offer the ability for borrowers to transfer their Netflix profile into their own account and for sharers to manage their devices more easily and to create sub-accounts if they want to pay for family or friends. The approach sounds similar to tests Netflix has been running in Latin America, which I didn't know about, after executives announced earlier this year that they would seek to put a stop to password sharing. That test gave viewers the ability to watch Netflix in one designated home, but subscribers were forced to pay an additional $2.99 for each new home in which someone would be streaming through a given Netflix account. I wonder if they'll draw the line at $2.99.
Netflix never draws the line. It's always going up.
It's always going up. Netflix executives have long acknowledged the reality that consumers share their passwords. Yeah, they used to let you do it, allowing others to access the streaming service without paying, but said they were not worried about the practice. That changed earlier this year when they got friggin' desperate. After the company reported its first year-over-year decline in subscribers. Executives said at that time they expected roughly 100 million households were accessing the service without paying, while the service at the time had roughly 222 million paying subscribers. Now, once again, my question to you, DJ, now, so in their defense, I can see why they would, at first glance, say, we need to crack down on this because we're hemorrhaging money. We're trying to keep the service alive. It sucks that we have to start charging people that were just sharing accounts before. We were allowing it because we were doing so well, but now there's no way around it. We have to up everybody's subscription cost, and we have to make the sharers pay now. But I don't know how much that's actually going to help them, and they seem to be, it seems like almost, and I don't mean to go back to this all the time, DJ, it seems like almost the problem that Zaslav is having with Warner Brothers, where it's like, here are these cost-cutting measures we think are really important, never mind the PR. Like, never mind how it makes us look. And my worry for Netflix with this is the same, is with that. When the dust settles, how are people going to perceive the company? Because I think that really hurts your bottom line if you've got a real crappy reputation where you're not customer friendly. I think they should take the hit and hope for the best. That's me as an armchair critic, not being there, not being a business guy, knowing just what I know, and maybe my mind could be changed by an executive there if I was sitting in that room. But again, just the armchair critic in me says, I think you should take the hit and hope for the best.
Yeah, especially if no one else does this. So you're going to look like the worst. And I already think you are the worst. I don't know what's keeping them afloat. I guess it's just because they were the first and people just like feel like that's just the one you have to keep.
It seems so desperate.
Standard.
It makes you wonder how much longer they can possibly survive. Like, if Netflix filed Chapter 11 this time next year, would you be surprised? Like, would that shock you? Do we think they're close to there? Because a lot of the things they've been doing lately, like, really reek of desperation to me.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be sad if they went under. That's just me. I know there's some history there. It's like the first. Some nostalgia even.
Absolutely.
Like I wrote 2007 to 2022 in the thumbnail. That was just when they started streaming was '07. They were around for 10 years before that. So
yeah,
it's crazy. It's a long time.
By the way, that's one of my favorite thumbnails you've ever made, and I know that looks real clickbaity because at first glance somebody might look at that and be like, oh, they're saying Netflix is about to go under if they don't read the title, but it's a great joke. Like, it really does feel like the death nail. It does feel like this is the end of Netflix. And maybe some people will think that I'm going too far in saying that because like the fines are not huge. Some people that really like their content might be willing to fall in line, but I don't think it'll be enough people. And I also think that this might turn off even some currently paying customers that are. Think about it like this, DJ. I think there are people who maybe don't watch a ton of Netflix, but have a lot of friends or family that do, that pay for an account. Because my father-in-law does this with a couple of things, where like he pays for an account and then the whole family uses it. When the whole family isn't allowed to use his account anymore, is he going to keep paying for an account if he's not using it that much? No, he's not. So now you've lost not only the people that were, in your mind, freeloaders, but you've lost the person they were freeloading on in the first place, and now you're losing more money.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. I mean, we'll never know. They'll never release the numbers on this, but I would be interested to see if their numbers go up or down. Or it does nothing.
Let's take a look at one more article before we go to Super Chats, DJ. Vulture.com. Netflix's password crackdown plan has a handy loophole. This dropped yesterday, and was this is updated on I say yesterday, I guess. No, yesterday. After Netflix's initial, and then it crosses out threat and says announcement. That's wonderful. After Netflix's initial announcement about limiting password sharing, the streamer is expanding its testing to 5 Latin American countries, and we just were talking about that a minute ago. Starting August 22nd, Netflix will be asking subscribers to pay an extra fee on top of their current subscription plans if their accounts are being used outside their primary home for more than 2 weeks. We just read about that. The update will not automatically charge you if you're password sharing, but instead, Netflix will send a slightly passive-aggressive in-app notification asking you to pay the extra house fee $2.99 per month if the service detects your account being used in a location other than your own. The 2-week limit allows you to log into your account on other TVs while on vacation. But if you're away any longer, you'll have to either pay up or declare the new location as your primary residence. However, there is one sort of loophole. For now, using Netflix on various mobile devices like laptops and smartphones will not be counted as an additional charge no matter how long you use it, so go ahead and fire up that AirPlay baby. Now, I have a question.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, but I have a question. I don't think the like different account things or account the different what do you call it, like not dossiers, we just said it a minute ago and I just can't think of the word, everybody's got their profiles. Netflix didn't launch with profiles, right? Like I don't think all of
I wasn't
these
there at launch. I don't know.
I don't think all of these have always had that. When people would, and I never shared my account with other people, but as far as I understood it years ago, when people would share their accounts with things like this, everybody would just use the one account, and you just have to kind of like deal with a bunch of shows and movies maybe you don't care about in the like currently watching section or whatever, but like, you know, you could get around that and you just watch whatever you'd want to do. If you can continue to use multiple devices, don't you think that's what people would do? Like isn't this like kind of a massive loophole, or is it based on IP address and stuff? That's what I wonder. Like,
yeah, I would assume it has to be. Hulu TV has something like this too. Like if you go on vacation, like when we go on vacation to Airbnb and we try to watch our Hulu TV, it's like, hey, this is not your zip code.
Oh yeah,
so you can't do it. But they can,
and it'll give you a notification if somebody logs in from a different device. Like, is this you?
And they can track your IP address, and they can probably learn which devices are like starting from near your main device. And then something, if like Connor uses my Netflix in Portland, they're gonna be like, okay, yeah. Unless you're on vacation, that's definitely not you. So we're gonna cut that one off.
So that is a way for them to crack down on it.
So I guess they're doing it. This is the first big one to try. Like I said, Hulu does it, but that's because that's connected to like TV programming, and it's different in different cities and stuff. So I guess they've done it for a while. But
do they do it with only broadcast TV and stuff that like, you know, drops a day or two after or whatever? Or do they do it with their like regular streaming service?
Yeah, that I don't know, because I've never just had the plain one, so I don't know.
Yeah, okay. I have, but like I said, I haven't tried to share it, so... That's about all I have to say on the topic, but I just wanted to kind of lay out all the information. And so DJ, are you with me? This is kind of maybe a bad idea, or do you think like other services could follow suit with this, and this could become kind of the way it's done?
I wouldn't put it past them. I think it could absolutely go that direction, but I don't think it's going to save them at all. I don't think it's going to help them at all. I don't either. This seems like a really desperate move. I don't think it's going to boost numbers that much, if at all. I don't know how.
Both things could be true, right? Like Netflix could try this and they could still go under, or they could go under faster because people aren't having it. And then the other services that are doing well that people feel the need to hang on to could implement this, and people keep them when they don't keep Netflix because they feel like they've got them over a barrel. Okay, well, I do really want to watch The Mandalorian, so whatever. I guess I'll deal with it.
Yeah. Probably. That's probably the most likely scenario, honestly.
Well, we'll go ahead and start getting to questions if we have stuff. I forgot to mention this at the top of the show, but once again, and this will be for the last time, obviously, because we're doing the 24-hour stream starting tomorrow, but top Super Chatter tonight gets to pick 3 episodes from DCAU, 1 hour's worth, so either 3 single-part episodes, or a 2-parter and an episode, or a 3-parter, because Justice League has lots of those, and or at least a few of those, and whoever gets the top or is the top Super Chatter tonight gets to do that. And you'll just, when we get to the end of the show, you'll just send me an email, give me your shows, and those will go in the rotation for tomorrow. Okay, let's go ahead and get to any questions,
Sweet.
DJ. Not a big crowd tonight, so we'll probably knock them out pretty quick. But go ahead and start getting some questions in if you haven't yet, and you want to talk about other things besides the Netflix thing as well. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I don't have a long list, so go ahead and shoot some more in the chat. The top super chatter right now of the night is Goofster123 with a $20 super
Oh,
chat.
goodness. Thanks, man.
He says, Cap, Andor is great. It feels
Oh,
like
thanks for
Star
reminding me.
Wars.
I haven't started it yet. I keep forgetting about that show. I keep thinking, oh, I gotta watch She-Hulk, but I've been putting it off because it sounds terrible and I don't really want to watch it. And I could have been watching Andor this whole time. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, he says it feels like Star Wars and Blade Runner had a baby.
Ooh.
Not like a baby Yoda, though. Also, excited are you for
great.
the upcoming Christmas
Excited
story?
are you?
Excited are you for the upcoming Christmas story sequel with the OG Ralphie? Throw up emoji.
No, I don't care about that at all. But it sounds like you don't either. I don't like, and I'm gonna be bamboozled for this. I'm sure. I'm just saying that because I know DJ loves that word.
You've been bamboozled.
I'm gonna get crap for this. I don't like A Christmas Story, so like I'm not gonna watch a sequel. I don't like that movie. I found it awkward and off-putting when I was a kid, and I get the appeal of those kinds of movies for some kids and adults later. I never appreciated that, and I've had to sit through that 2 or 3 times, and I don't like it.
No, I'm totally with you. I had the same thing growing up, but and he also
Oh, did you have to watch it too?
Oh yeah, that my dad's side of the family, like my grandma would, and actually it was my dad's brother's like one of his favorite movies. So it was whenever it was on. It's on all day on Thanksgiving, like 24 hours, and they had it on. So whenever we go for Thanksgiving, it would just be playing nonstop. So I saw it all out of order like a million times, just as I was walking through the house. But I never liked it. But that's
I don't hate it. It's not a bad movie. It's just but the taste thing. It's not my thing.
Well, it's a nostalgia movie, not for a movie though, for just a time period, which is interesting to make.
That you didn't live in, and I
yeah.
really didn't live in. Like, not really.
Well, it's set in like the 50s.
Oh, that's
it's
true.
movie,
See, it's been so long, I
50s.
forgot. But like the movie comes out in what, 86, 87, maybe a little earlier than that. But you're right. I forgot that it was a period piece in the first place.
Yeah, and I'm sure it was kind of cool
Because he
at
wants
the
his pop
time.
gun, and yeah.
I'm sure it was kind of cool at the time because it was realistic 50s, not like tinted glasses 50s that we always look at the 50s at. So I'm sure it was pretty cool at the time. But it's weird to a movie about the 50s. So what is this going to be? If he's is this
83,
going to
thanks
be
to
like,
Universe, yeah. I thought maybe I was a little too late.
so if this is 30 years later, then it's going to be the 80s? Are they even going to think about it that much, or is it just going to be modern times? I don't know. Hopefully they're thinking about it enough that the sequel will be in the 80s, 30 years after that one.
And to be fair, if they did it right, that's maybe kind of fun, where like everybody ages up, but it's still a period piece, and so now you go back as far as they did in the first place. Like I guess now would be the time to make that if you're gonna make that. But I'm not saying that it's necessarily pardon me, even a bad idea if you like that movie. I just don't care for A Christmas Story, so I don't need a sequel to it. I don't want to watch it yet.
Yeah.
I've been
Yeah, I
having
didn't even know
this.
that was the thing until he just brought it up. That's crazy.
I knew they were doing that. I didn't know when it was coming out or if it was this year or next year, but
There's a little teaser that's been released with like just 2 seconds of footage of old Ralphie.
quick aside, I've had this thought a lot lately about like professional critics, DJ. I can't, because I've been watching a lot of old Siskel and Ebert and stuff, and I've just been really in the mood for like I guess film criticism, and it occurs to me that being a regular film critic, where you have to review almost everything that comes out, because I've never done that. Like, you know, the last 13 years, the main thing I do is review, but I've never been like every week I have to see every single thing that comes out. Connor tried that for a while. I couldn't do it. Like, even when I was doing How We Felt About every week or almost every week, where I'd watch one movie a week, it was too much, because more of what I was seeing was bad than even mediocre. And I was like, this is harming my brain. I have so much respect for guys like Roger Ebert and you know, Roper and those guys for being able to not like completely lose their sanity and get really horribly cynical, or just like have their standards so lowered that they love things that are terrible, or that they love like a lot of things that are terrible. And I've seen that happen to some of those guys, but like some of them, like the ones I mentioned, managed to kind of keep some level of objectivity that I don't know that I would be able to. But the thing that I keep going back to lately, DJ, is imagine that you're a critic and you give a negative review to a franchise starter, and then every time a movie in that franchise comes out, you have to review it.
Well, I mean,
Doesn't that suck?
You could have a franchise that gets better.
Yeah, and sometimes it does. Later. But let's say it's just like horribly not to your taste in the first place, and even if the sequels are better than the first one, it's still of the ilk that it is. And you're like, well, God, I don't want to watch like 19 Nightmare on Elm Street movies, and like what if slasher movies are not your thing, like they're not mine, or what if you don't like stoner comedies that get sequels, or like anything with, but especially things with like long franchise, like Fast and Furious.
Yeah, I would not be looking forward to those if I had to watch those. I've never seen one, but
and Ebert liked those, which is lucky for him, I guess. But then he died before the majority of them were made, I think. Like,
yeah,
because they're up to what, 115? Like,
yeah, critic that I really like, that's been on the channel before, Aaron Dicer. He still sees every single thing, and he's usually good about keeping his priorities straight, but I think the latest Halloween broke him. His review of that was just like, what is this movie?
That's really funny. I haven't talked to Aaron in a long time.
I still tune into his podcast every now and then.
Yeah, I'll have to drop him a line. I miss him.
Yeah, he's great. But yeah, I look at his letterbox and he sees everything, and I'm like, gosh, how do you do this, man? There's so much bad stuff. But he sees a lot more good stuff.
I quit. I don't think I could deal with it. It's why I had to kind of pick something. Like,
yeah.
Anyway.
Well, he had one more little bit on the end of his super chat after the throw up emoji, and it was also Creed 3 trailer was great. So far I saw it one time. I meant to look at it again for this show, so I'm not going to talk about it at length. I'm a little mixed on it so far. I feel like it could go either way. I could see that movie taking a really sappy turn and turning into accidentally like a Rocky 5 or something. I think Austin said that, and I agree with him. But there's every potential that it's not that it doesn't get silly or get too sappy or end up looking too much like a superhero movie, which is kind of my concern with it. And this isn't me saying that I'm not interested in it and I think it looks bad because Stallone's not in it, but if it turns out that we're killing him off between movies, I hope that's handled really well, because I'm a little disappointed by that if that's what we're doing. Like, maybe he's not dead and they just didn't feel like he needed to be in the story. It's like, why does Rocky always have to be around? Maybe we'll bring him back to kill him, in 4. I don't know. But if they kill him off between movies, I don't know how I'm going to feel about that until I see it done, in context. Just because he's been so wonderful in those, and that first movie in particular is such a good dual protagonist piece. But I am really interested in Michael B. Jordan getting a directorial debut and seeing how he is behind the camera. I saw a tweet from him the other day where he just seems really proud of the project, and obviously he's going to talk like that, but it sounds very genuine, where he's really stoked to finally get to make a movie. And I like that cast a lot, so we'll see how it is. But at the moment I feel like it could go either way. All right, shall we change the subject?
Yeah, absolutely.
Matthew Bass wants us to change the subject. He says $10 Watchmen commentary soon, maybe?
I wonder if he's saying that just because you have a huge Watchmen box set, like, right off your head. Like, where it is right now, it looked like it was an extension of your hair, really.
I would love to do a commentary on this movie, although I haven't seen it in a long time, so I might have to rewatch it.
Why do you have to shove that in my face? Why do you have to brag about it?
Eat it, Cap. Eat it. Hey, I only paid $20 for this.
I'll tell you right where you can stick that. No, I'm kidding. No, that's really pretty, and like I like the deluxe DVD set I've got, but I'd like to have that too. That's really neat.
You probably don't need it, honestly. If I can do a quick unboxing of it, I'll just show you. Sure. All it is just the hardcover book.
Oh.
So it
Okay,
comes
but I
with,
like the box. I like the lenticular.
yeah,
Is it the ultimate cut? Is it the 3.5 hour cut?
is the ultimate cut. It has a little black
Oh,
sailor,
yep. There's the Black Freighter there.
black freighter right
But
there,
but
and it
DJ,
comes with.
I do need it because that's Blu-ray and mine's DVD, and I'm sure it's an ISO transfer.
Mm, yeah, it's nice. So it's got the ultimate cut and the special features and the motion comic and the DVD.
Yeah, the DVD set has all of that also, except it's not Blu-ray. But that's a situation where if I got that, I might keep both, just because I also really like the presentation of the DVD set too.
Yeah, this is how I was able to read this for the first time. This
Oh,
is actually
neat.
a movie that I saw before I even knew what the graphic novel
How
was.
did you
So
get that for $20?
it was the Amazon deal of the day one time.
That's
Remember when they
neat.
used to do that? I don't know if they still do that, but
Yeah, I think they do actually.
okay. I don't get the notifications anymore, but
Maybe it's not an
I,
everyday thing, but they'll do, like kind of flash sales like that.
yeah, and it was $20. I was like, okay, let me jump on that. This was when I was younger and buying a lot more of these big box sets. I don't know if you could tell, but they switch between the comic art and the.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The lenticular, it's neat. I like that. Although it's hard not to look at it like that and go, this is really reminding me of which of these characters is miscast. Because I don't know, Lori and Lori there. I don't know how I feel about that flipping back and forth. Like here's how much this character is really not the character in the book.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Ozymandias.
No, both, but I'm always complaining about that, so I thought I'd bring up Lori this time. But believe it or not, I actually don't have the deluxe hardcover for that book. I have it I think I just have it in paperback.
Yeah.
So I would consider getting that box just to have the hardcover because
Oh.
it's really pretty. Although the absolute edition is the way I'd like to have that if I bought the hardcover. So
Yeah,
and that's how
that's
I read
true.
it the first time because my campus library at college had it, and a friend of mine was obsessed with Watchmen and said, "Hey, this is how I read Watchmen in the first place." And somehow I had never heard of it. I didn't know anything about Alan Moore. And when I was in college, this kid in a writing class that I was with said, "Hey Cap," because everybody calls me Captain Logan, even back then. I said, "Hey Cap, you need to go to the library, and they've got the absolute edition of Watchmen. You have to read it," and it changed my everything. So I'm really
Yeah.
glad that he did that.
That's really cool. Yeah, I've seen the Absolute Edition for like $500 or whatever it is at, at the store, but
Oh
I've
no,
I've
is that
never
what it's
held
up to
it.
now?
I don't know. It's expensive. I'm exaggerating, but
Well, that's not worth it.
it's probably like $100.
I mean, I have
But
ways to read that. Well, I'd pay $100 for it if I just had it laying around and I didn't have anything better to buy that month, I guess. But I also, being the singles collector that I am, I'll answer the question here in a minute. Being the singles collector I am, I really want first printings of those, and I've never bought them. And I've had multiple opportunities to get the original 12 for about that much, DJ, for about $100. And it's been a while since I've looked, so maybe they've gone up in value since then, and it would cost more like 2 or 3. But I would probably prioritize getting the first printings at this point before even the absolute. I digress. I don't think I mind announcing this because I don't think I'm going too far when I say this, but I can about 90%. I'll go this far. I can about 90% guarantee that you'll get a Watchmen commentary on the channel next year.
ooh,
I think I can say that. Because there's a very specific, and I won't talk about why, but there's a very specific reason that I've been really kind of shortlisting that and planning on making that happen next year. And obviously, it will be contingent on getting DJ on board because DJ is the guy I want to do that commentary with. But we're doing more commentaries on Tuesdays. I'm sure we can fit it in. But there's a particular thing we're going to do next year that Watchmen fits in really nicely, and I want to make sure that we do that commentary. I haven't decided, DJ, which version we're going to do yet. I'm inclined to go director's cut over ultimate cut for multiple reasons.
it makes sense. I'm glad I watched the Ultimate Cut once, but I don't know if I'll go back to that version whenever I watch it.
It's the complete version. It's kind of it's the way to watch it if you want the closest experience to the book as possible. But there's two big problems with it. One is it's with doing the commentary anyway. One is I will have nothing to say during the Black Freighter bets, and the second is most people won't have that version of it, and it's not streaming anywhere. So like the versions you can stream are the theatrical and the directors. Well, and maybe not even the directors. I'm not sure. I'm sure Max's version is just the theatrical if it's even still on Max. I don't even know.
Oh no, we got to do the directors at least.
I don't know, but we have to do the director's cut because the theatrical version is basically a clip show. in comparison,
I don't know if I've ever seen the theatrical.
Well, I went to theater and saw it, but the ultimate version is what's sticky about it. The reason I always hesitate and I don't say just watch the director's cut and don't worry about the ultimate unless you really like Black Freighter is, but there is some live action segments put back in that fit around Black Freighter that I like and kind of want to be in the movie. But there's no way to make a cut to utilize those without Black Freighter because it wouldn't make sense without it. So
yeah, it's all about the comic little shop characters. They have a nice little arc.
They do, and I think it's well handled in that movie.
Yeah, so I mean, we've talked about doing a commentary on this forever because you and I like this movie more than anyone else, or most people anyway. And I'm interested to go back to it and see if I still like it as much as I used to because I haven't seen it in a while.
I have maintained it's still in my top 10 favorite superhero movies of all time. I have been hesitant to go back to it since I've gotten more and more sour on the Snyder things, and I haven't seen it since well before my 5-hour fiasco of a BVS review. And like BVS really made me notice some things in his directing style in general that suddenly I didn't care for, and I don't know if I'm gonna start to realize that I'm actually agreeing with some folks that don't like that movie when I look at it again. That's my worry. I'm afraid I'll have like a Daredevil experience with it. You know, where like even the director's cut after the Daredevil TV show, it's hard to appreciate it the way I used to. Like it just doesn't really hold up. And I'm afraid that weirdly bad things made by the same director will make that not hold up as well, which is not fair, but I'm just afraid that that's how I'll feel about it. I guess I'll have to see. But at the moment, I still love that movie.
Yeah. Maybe we shouldn't go back. Maybe that'll be a horrible experience. Us both just having it ruined for us on camera.
Maybe that commentary should just be me, like, or we hire somebody to just read the graphic novel to us, and then we talk over that. It's the Watchmen. It's like, how'd you guys get a 7-hour commentary out of Watchmen? I don't know how you did that.
Wow, that is interesting. We could do the motion comic. That would kind of be the same thing. I don't know if the motion comic cuts out scenes or not. I've never watched it.
No, the motion comic I think leaves everything in, but it's really awkward.
Oh,
because it's like one guy doing all the voices.
Yeah. And so it's like an audiobook basically.
I think and I think they do that and he does a good job, but I think they do that thing. It would be better as an audiobook. Like listening to. It's been a long time, but I think it's a British guy. Listening to his British guy just like doing a like high-pitched Lori voice while I'm seeing her mouth move in a digital panel. It's a little awkward. It's a little weird.
Yeah, that sounds weird. That sounds like
I never watched
Sonic
all of it. Sorry, what was that?
It sounds like my Sonic High School experience.
We don't need to talk about that. You do need to come back for the next one though, because that thing has gotten even crazier.
Oh, good. I need to do that.
Okay. Hey, thanks for the super chats, folks. We really appreciate the support. And once again, somebody is going to get to pick 3 more episodes for the DCAU 24-hour stream starting at 10 o'clock tomorrow night. DJ, I'm stoked. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, and they are giving each other a run for their money because we got a $20 super chat from Burned In.
Goodness, how literal was that statement?
I love it when I can make just sayings come true. That's what I live for.
I love it when the puns come together. Anyway, go ahead.
Has a commentary ever helped you gain respect for a movie you otherwise don't like? I recently bought the Friday the 13th Blu-ray collection, and while I still think that series is pretty bad, the commentaries make them better.
Yeah, and I hesitate on that because I never like directors or writers or actors telling you too much about what they think the movie is about, right? I want things to be able to stand on their own, and so, but and I'm trying to think of a good example, but I would be irresponsible if, or just plain out up lying, if I were to say that I've never heard somebody passionately talk about a thing that didn't really grab me, or I wasn't entirely buying, and getting it from their perspective and going, okay, maybe there's a little more here than I was appreciating. But DJ, usually it's more, and I mean, you can explain the thing to me and me just go, oh, I guess for whatever reason I didn't pick up on that was there, as opposed to acting like it's about something it's not, or like everything's not actually in the movie that you're saying it is, you know what I mean? Like, that's different. But also, I think more often it's just like the passion and thoughtfulness of the filmmaker or the writer making me look at it in a different light. It's it's the passion that might do that for me before anything else. I do think I'll give you an example. I think it helped me appreciate Iron Man 3 a little bit more, because that's a compromised project. Like, it's a solid movie. It's a better movie if all the stuff that Shane Black had and the writer he worked with had been able to pull to the fore was in the fore. So when a filmmaker points out things that are in the movie but that I wasn't thinking much about because the movie wasn't enough about them, and then you realize the movie was supposed to be more about them, maybe I'm not appreciating the film itself more, but I'm appreciating what the point of the story was supposed to be more, or like what the project could have been. So yeah, I've kind of had that experience. What about you?
I don't know. It's been so long, honestly, since I've listened to commentaries. I used to do it a lot when I was younger, like high school years, but I just don't have time to do that anymore. So I can't remember a good example of that. And because in at the time I was only buying movies that I already really liked. So I don't even know if I've ever listened to a commentary to a movie I didn't already like. I know you have to do that because of your job, but I don't know if I would ever do that.
That's a good point. Yeah. Would you be enticed to go, well, I want to know more about how this train wreck fell apart? I've also appreciated maybe not stories of movies so much, but like uh the way a movie is made, like the film as a what am I trying to say? I don't know. I can't think of the right word. But like, I've watched behind the scenes featurettes before and been like, okay, there was more thought put into this than it seemed like there was at a script level. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you just mean from a production level.
We're as a, I don't know, as a creative exercise, as a visual, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. As a visual exercise, it's more interesting, or I'm appreciating it more than a story. Like, we've seen execution exceed concept by leaps and bounds before, and the movie I'd throw out for that, of course, is Dark Knight Rises, where like I did a lot of research on how that movie came together when I reviewed it, and I respected the people who made it ultimately a lot more than I respected the story they were telling. So that was weird, where I'm like, I mean, you guys put your heart and soul into a movie that I just don't think works.
Yeah.
You know, so that's interesting. And I'm just throwing out superhero things because I spend more time these days with special features on those than anything else. And I'm with you, DJ. I used to spend more time like combing through special features of things. And I've got lots of Blu-rays and DVDs with probably really neat features that I still have not bothered to delve into, that I want to do, because that's part of the point of owning physical media for me, is because that's where the research is. But I've had the opposite of this also with things like X-Men Apocalypse. When I listened to, like, I hated that movie so much more analyzing it. When I went to the theater and saw that, I was disappointed with it. When I did the rewind on it, it made me angry. Like, I really hated it. And some of it was listening to Singer in the commentary and just how pretentious he was, and how that movie isn't anything like as good as the way he's talking about it, of course, but he also had this kind of like F-all attitude, and like it just rubbed me the wrong way, and so that can kind of happen the other direction too. That's why sometimes there's a part of me that even feels weird about watching special features, because like I like doing it. I want to know things about how the sausage is made, but at the same time I think it can be a little bit too influencing, where like I really believe in the death of the author thing, and it's difficult to fully adhere to that when you know too much about what the person thinks they made, or what the person is trying to convince you that they made.
Yeah, sometimes it can help me understand and appreciate why things are certain ways, but it doesn't necessarily help me like it better. Like for example, I listened to the director's commentary on the first Avengers film with Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
And he explained towards the end, or he at some point in the commentary, he talks about how, yeah, we kind of had to simplify Loki here. He's not as interesting as he was in Thor. He's more just kind of an evil villain here. And I was like, oh, okay, that's okay.
You did it on purpose.
Yeah, so okay. So it makes it a little. I don't know. It doesn't make me like it any better, because I really, really liked Loki in the first Thor movie. But it's like, okay, so you realize you did that at least.
That's not what you wanted them to do, but at least there was a vision.
Yeah, you had to, because it's a big teen movie, and you couldn't really spend too much time with them, stuff like that. That's just an example.
And you don't even have to agree with them.
Yeah, but in that case, it was just something that I already thought. So I was like, oh, that's nice. He agrees with me. But.
It's also just nice when filmmakers, when like any kind of artist is down to earth about their work, and
he wasn't like defending it like Bryan Singer. He was like, yeah, sometimes we have to make compromises.
Yeah, it's kind of easier sometimes to appreciate the flaws in a piece when the person that made it knows about them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to say.
Because you go, oh, well, I see maybe why this had to be compromised, or why you thought it did, even if I feel like I could, again, armchair critic, I feel like I could throw you ideas of how to still, flesh that character out or make him more three-dimensional, but, like, he didn't think that was possible, so they, made the decisions that they made. Like, you can respect that maybe at the very least.
Yeah. Thank you for that super chat burned in. Busted Sim, $5.
Hi there.
Oh, you guys might be able to help with this. I want to get North by Northwest, but don't know which release on Amazon would be the best to get.
I don't know anything about that movie.
That is a good question.
I know what it is, but I've never seen it, so I can't help you with that.
I may have to tag Connor, and I don't know if it has a 4K yet. So I can't speak to that, but I can tell you what my favorite version is. If it does not have a 4K yet, look it up and see if it does. But if it doesn't, this is the Blu-ray that I have, and it is a digibook, and it is gorgeous.
Digibook, that's what those are called. When I was doing my collection stream the other night, I kept trying to think of the name of those.
Okay.
And I can never remember that. That's what those are called.
Yeah, it's got the posters in there, some screenshots, some text about the movie and stuff you can read. Very cool, nice wraparound. Very cool digibook for North by Northwest. So
yeah,
get that one if you can get your hands on it. But I don't think there is a 4K yet. That was not included in the 4K Volume 1 and 2 Alfred Hitchcocks that they released, which was unfortunate. But that's why I held on to this one, because it's not in the 4K set.
Dude, you have a brand new setup behind you for your Blu-rays because you've moved, and it's only been built for like a couple of weeks or less, and I'm marveling at your ability to just turn around and grab things off the shelf when they're not alphabetized and when they're just in by color. I don't know how you do that. You don't even have to look at a list or anything. You just turn it. Here's my North by North. How? Look at how it's organized. It's just by color.
I'm telling you, that's why everyone gets mad at me and is like, I would never find anything. It's easier. I have a visual brain. Color triggers my memory better. I know.
Some of us do not have that, and I cannot begin to relate to that.
Everyone thinks I'm crazy and I can never find anything, but it's so much easier because
No,
I
you've
just know
proven
where to
it.
go.
You didn't know anybody was going to bring that movie up, and then you
I
were
did
talking
not.
about a totally unrelated thing. You turned around and totally different section and went, and then this thing over here, and I'm like,
Yeah, I was
that's
talking about these.
insane. And it's not because it's been set up forever. You just did that.
Yeah, I was talking about these. These are the 4K Alfred Hitchcock sets, volume 1 and 2. That
I don't know
day.
how he does that. No, that's great. Oh, those are really pretty.
Yeah, this is great. This one has Rear Window, Vertigo, Psycho, and The Birds, and then this one has a lot more, 5 other more obscure films that he's
Obscure
done.
ones. Yeah, what is on there? I'm curious to know if I've seen any of those.
Saboteur, Shadow of a Doubt, The Trouble with Harry, Marnie, and Family Plot.
Wow, no, I've not seen any of those.
So those are
Have
really
you?
cool. I have not. No, that's why I got this. I'm excited to check those out.
I am, if everything goes according to plan, we've just set this up, but I'm actually going to go to DJ's place next month. I haven't seen DJ in 3 years in person, and we're finally going to get back together, and I'm really stoked for that. And we should watch maybe a classic or two while I'm there.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Do a commentary or just a maybe a discussion video about an older
Yeah,
film.
maybe so. We'll figure something out. Or maybe the thing to do is finally face in the crowd
Oh yeah, that'd be great. I got that too.
for the 6 people that will care. But that's my favorite movie of all time now, and I would like to talk to you about that. I'd like to watch it with you, just to watch it with you, honestly.
Yeah, we'll have to title that video Cap watches his favorite movie with DJ or something, so people are more inclined to click on it than
Inclined to
just
look at it,
facing the
yeah.
crowd.
Yeah, we'll just do it real laid back.
Yeah, that's a great movie. I've only seen it the one time. I need to watch it again.
It's such a good movie. I didn't know that Andy Griffith was in my top 5 favorite actors of all time, and it's based on a singular performance. I mean, I like him in his show. I like him fine in Matlock, but those things don't make him a great actor.
Yeah.
There's another universe. I say this a lot, but DJ, there's another universe where he has a very different career.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's a whole conversation we could have is how many actors would have been in like a bunch more films if they didn't get locked into a TV show for so long.
Adam West.
Like Freddie Highmore has been playing that doctor show for like 7 years now, it feels like, and he
He
hasn't
should
done
have a movie
anything
career.
else.
You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. Yeah.
I love Freddie Highmore, but he's been playing an autistic doctor for a decade now, and I haven't
Is that
seen him
any
in
good?
anything else. I have no idea.
I've never seen it either. I
never-
didn't care, but I like that actor.
It seems like a procedural, like Grey's Anatomy is just not my thing, so I didn't.
No,
I
me
didn't
neither.
even check it out.
But the lines are so blurred these days with TV and film that happens maybe even more often than it did back in the day. But those careers aren't thought of as much of missed opportunities necessarily, right? Although Freddie Highmore has had since he's been an adult anyway, because he was a child actor who was doing movies, but he's had mostly a TV career now.
Yeah, he went straight from Bates Motel to this new show. He did do a lot of movies. He was Charlie in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and
Yeah.
he was
But mostly
boy-
kid roles.
the boy who inspired Peter Pan in that Johnny Depp movie, Finding Neverland, and Spiderwick Chronicles. He was in a lot of kids movies.
But then when you look at other actors, pardon me, in Bates Motel, you've got a lot of actors in that show that go back and forth, that have really straddled the line in their careers. Both Vera Farmiga and what's his name?
Eyeshadow guy.
I mean, Nestor Carbonell.
Oh, okay. Wow, you pulled it.
Yeah, it took me a second. Nestor Carbonell has been almost equally in TV and film. Bounces back and forth all the time. He's in The Dark Knight and several other movies, but he's also Batman Well in The Tick, and he's in the Sheriff in Bates Motel, and he's had a long TV career too.
Yeah, my wife and I always call him Richard, but he's not Richard. He's the guy who's
Richard
always
from-
saying Richard.
No,
Is he
he's Richard.
He
No,
is
he's
Richard?
Richard. In Lost, yeah, he's Richard.
Yeah, we always call him Richard because we can never remember Nestor Carbonell.
Nestor Carbonell. Well, his name is cool. He has a cool name.
I just think of Nestor the long-eared donkey every time I hear that. Anybody watch that Christmas special? That wasn't one of the big ones.
Well, it's I'm not sure where he's from, but I mean it's a Spanish name.
Yeah, I think he is. Obviously, he's Spanish.
He's Hispanic. Well, I was gonna say I don't actually know where he's from, but
Yeah,
he has that background, whichever country or he might be like second generation American. I have no idea. I mean, he has just a regular American accent. I'm gonna assume he was born here, but I don't know.
Yeah, he was born on a roof, of course.
On a roof, of course. Yeah. He does that
great.
hilarious fake Spanish accent.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, great question, Busted Sim. I'm glad. Hopefully I helped you. Hopefully you can find that. There's probably a standard Blu-ray release of it too that you can get your hands on. Another one from Matthew Bass. What are some movies you initially didn't like but have come around on after multiple viewings?
Why don't you go first?
That is a tough one.
It is. It is.
A lot of great questions about movies tonight. I love it.
Yeah. It makes me feel super rusty.
I know. Well, it's tough to pull these. Whenever
because
someone
there's one great answer that you're not going to come up with in the moment, right? Like these feel like essay questions. You want 10 minutes to sit down and think about it and jot some notes before you start answering.
Yeah, I guess I could technically count Zodiac because I didn't like it enough to keep going originally, but we both really liked it when we finally finished it.
Yeah.
Which is very recent. If you haven't seen it, check out that commentary.
It
was all the rage. It was one of the most popular videos on the channel.
No, that's a little niche, but that's always October here on Geekvolution.
Yeah, that's a tough question. I can say that when I was a kid, and I didn't love some of the older. And I didn't see a lot of them, but a lot of the Disney movies that I didn't see growing up, the animated ones, my son ended up really liking. Like Dumbo and Bambi are like two of his favorites. So watching those with him has given me much more of an appreciation for those ones, and I like them a lot more now after he fell in love with them. And Pinocchio, which isn't one I disliked as a kid, I just didn't watch it, but he really likes that one too. So we've been watching that one quite a few times. So I do have much more of an appreciation for a lot of the older, Golden Age, Silver Age, and especially the wartime movies where they were doing the shorts, like Three Caballeros. I love that one now because I've watched that with my kids a couple times, which I didn't love that one growing up, or at least the first time I saw it. But I'm having trouble thinking of just...
You have that when you have kids, where you see it from some of it is just seeing things from the lens of the audience it's intended for. Like, sometimes you see movies too early where you can't appreciate them because they're informed by history or culture or things that go over your head and you don't understand them, and they might seem boring and talky. And then you get older, you realize what they're about. And I'm trying to come up with a good example, but I know I've had that with things. And then you'll have the opposite thing that I think maybe you're describing, DJ, where you either saw movies that were intended for a younger audience too late, or you don't really remember seeing them when you were a kid that much.
Yeah, I've always heard this, like, hey, you should give movies a second chance because you never know, like, you could have a completely different experience a second time. And I always resisted it growing up because I was like, there's so many movies I want to watch. I don't want to waste time watching a movie I didn't like to try to like it,
Yeah.
But this has happened to me.
Well, you're not the same person day to day. I've always said that, but especially 10, 20 years down the road, you're not the same person.
Yeah, and I'm understanding that a lot more now. Obviously, as I get older, we all learn that lesson as we get older.
Yep.
One that really did hit me, and I won't grab it because you'll make fun of me because I know where it is. It is The Grand Budapest Hotel, which is a Wes Anderson movie.
I'm not making fun of you. I think it's amazing that you can do that. Nah, do it, man. I want to see you do it. Where is it? Let's see it.
It's actually way over here.
He goes, oh, he's got to get up to go get it. Whoa.
So there's a whole other shelf. There's a whole other shelf over there that you can't see on camera.
I didn't know if that was intentional. I was like, oh no, he's going to drop his microphone. It's moving.
But so those ones over there aren't by color because that's going to be my boutique Blu-ray shelf with all of my Criterions and stuff. So these are the Wes Anderson. These are the there's other boutique labels besides Criterion. There's Kino and there's Arrow and stuff like that.
I know, but for non-collectors, it's just the most pretentious word you could possibly use, right? Boutique.
So this is the Wes Anderson collection, and this is the one I'm talking about, Grand Budapest Hotel. I watched this the year it came out, and it was nominated for Best Picture with my wife, and we both hated it.
Wow.
We both did not like it at all. And then we just recently rewatched it this year, and it's like my third favorite Wes Anderson movie now. It's great. Everyone's right. I was wrong. I just wasn't in the right headspace for it or something. I wasn't in the mood, or I wasn't ready for it yet. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's a great movie. It's a really good movie.
I have so a few examples are coming to mind now. I'm not real excited about any of them. I feel like there's the right answer for this, and it's not coming to me. So hopefully, maybe later in the show, more things will come to me.
Yeah.
I feel like I've had this more often, DJ, with things that I have a bad first impression of, and then it clicks with me a second time, as opposed to like I had to live with it for a while or I had to look at it several years later. I've had that too, but the first things that come to me are things like Fight Club, which I've talked about a lot before, but like first time around, I didn't appreciate that movie at all. On a second viewing, it clicked and I decided it was kind of a masterpiece. And then I just had this last week on The Request with Evil Dead 2, where I said if I had only watched that once. I don't usually watch things twice for request, but I felt the need to do it with Evil Dead 2 because I wasn't in the right headspace. And DJ, I made the mistake of watching that right after we did Zodiac, and that was just not the right thing to watch after Zodiac. And like, I couldn't appreciate the comedy. I was in, much more of the mood and the headspace for something more like realistic, I guess. And so anyway, I would have turned my sign red if we had talked about that immediately after I saw that movie. And the next day when I watched it, especially with other people, it clicked and I really appreciated it. And it's not really my thing, but I really like it for what it is now. And I like it even more than Army of Darkness now that I've seen that again, which I had seen before, but not in 20 years. And so, of course, this can happen the other direction as well, where like Army of Darkness is fine, but I ended up appreciating Evil Dead 2 so much finally on a second viewing that movie was not that was not the experience that I had the first time or that I was hoping that I would have with it. I did have this with another requested review, if memory serves, and then watch you go back to that review and I rip it to shreds, but I don't think that's what happened. I think with the movie Signs, I didn't care for that in the theater and didn't watch it for a long time, and then it was on the request. That might have been a Tom pick, I can't remember, but somebody requested that for that show, and that was before Austin was on it, and I reviewed it by itself, and really, really finally appreciated it years and years later. So, Shyamalan. So that's an example. And then and I can't think of a good singular example of this right now, but then there's also movies, DJ, that you'll like for superficial reasons when you're younger, and then you'll come to it years and years later and there'll be like a whole other layer to it. And that's always an interesting experience.
Yeah, I didn't have that much because I didn't see any good movies when I was a kid. My parents were not like huge film buffs. They just like bought whatever crappy kids movies were, whatever. So all I saw for the longest time was just terrible kids movies. So I don't have that experience as much. Another one I did have this with though is West Side Story. I was not prepared for West Side Story the first time I tried to watch it because I don't know if you've seen it.
I haven't seen the new one, but I've seen it on stage, and I don't like West Side Story just in general, so I don't care. Like I don't want to watch that movie.
Yeah. The original it's not just a musical; it's like a stage musical. Like there's like actual dance fighting in it, and I was not prepared for that the first time. Someone should have warned me because I was like, whoa, what is this? This is goofy and weird. But
yeah,
I didn't finish it, but then eventually I did finish it, and I liked it a lot.
That's interesting. I definitely have had that with musicals too.
Where you've gone back and liked it better
a little more, yeah, because I'm just in general, especially growing up, I don't think like I was really a musical kid, and I think much of the time I've had to watch a lot of musicals a couple times before I really appreciated them. Although I say that, like My Fair Lady first time out I thought was brilliant. So I don't know, just depends on what it is. But
yeah, I mean sometimes some people have to be in a mood for a musical, so. You could love it, but just not be in the right mood for it the first time.
And then we've talked about this before, but I've also had this with things that I guess I had to get older and or more desensitized before I could appreciate certain, kind of violent movies. Like a lot of people will go, well, these seem tame now, but like back in high school, I couldn't watch the Blade movies. Like that seemed too rough to me, and it's weird looking back thinking I ever had that. But like I really like those movies, but I couldn't get past the blood in the first place. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure I have that with something. But no, that's a great question.
No, it's a
Thank
really
you,
good question, and I'm not happy
Matthew.
with my answer. But
Yeah, that might be a whole video.
yeah, it could be. I'd like to make a list of that.
I'd like to
Um,
make a list of that. Great question, Matthew.
I could do it just with superhero movies, probably.
Yeah, I was trying to think of a superhero movie.
Because like some of my favorite stuff was not my favorite stuff right away, and I've also mentioned this before, but like Winter Soldier's that way. That's one of my absolute favorite superhero movies now. And sometimes the more cerebral stuff just takes you time to noodle. Like that as an experience first time out, I don't know if that's what I wanted, and I'm not really a spy guy. Once I really took it on its own terms and realized what it was about, it just started really resonating with me on multiple levels. And also just, the production of that movie and how sober it is compared to the MCU at large and, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes you like things more because you want more things to be like it.
Hmm.
I need more Winter Soldier. I need more of that, of that kind of sobriety and thoughtfulness and intensity in those kinds of movies.
I mean,
Where
I
it
could
it can
say,
still be fun and not take itself too seriously, but still be really about something and actually really serious.
yeah, I think I had. This is weird. I'm gonna mention Hulk because I loved Hulk in the theater because I was like 8. I don't know how old I was. I was super young. And I
This
was
is
like,
a
oh
good
my gosh,
example.
it's amazing.
This is a good example.
And then when 2008 Hulk came out, I was like, oh, this is a good one. 2003 sucks. And now it's come back up again, and I think it's actually very interesting and a lot more
Yep.
interesting than a lot of the superhero movies we get these days.
Yeah, Hulk I was baffled by in the theater, especially with that third act. And I mean, I still don't understand what's happening with some of that, but I think that's a better movie than I gave it credit for back then.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's really good.
And I had already turned around on it some when I did the rewind 600 years ago.
Yeah, so that one's gone all over the place for me. Because I still remember seeing that in the theater, and I was like, "Holy crap!" And I still think there's spectacle action scenes in that we haven't surpassed today. Like
Yeah.
the crazy globe-trotting, tank-throwing, missile-catching madness in the desert. I mean, that stuff is. If he didn't just make them turn up the green, like why
Yeah.
did he make them turn up the green? It looks good.
It's really
he just made them too
distracting.
green. Like
Yeah, you almost want to color correct it yourself.
yeah, because he looks he's so well integrated. Like they did the motion capture. The stuff looks good. He just wanted to make it look comic booky, so he cranked up the green, and it's just unsettling.
No, it makes him look like a ring pop.
He looks like he's actually radiating like
He's a green
color.
ring pop. I guess I could just say kryptonite, but yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, let's go to Chewbacca's Lover, $5. Going through After Dark still. Eric predicts the Sonic movie's success. And you say you will always watch Star Trek no matter how bad it gets.
Oh, did I say that?
Oh,
Well,
no.
it's crazy how things change, and I probably, I mean, obviously I said it. I don't remember saying that, but like I can see now why I would feel that way back then. I've gotten really cynical about that whole thing. I don't think I could have predicted how bad it could get. But I mean, like, I don't think I understood what was possible for streaming television to put out as ostensibly serious television. Like I think I was still naive enough to think that some things just would never be published in any capacity. Because that would have been right around or even before Iron Fist, and I didn't think Iron Fist was possible. Discovery and Picard are worse than Iron Fist in their writing. That shouldn't be possible.
What?
Oh yeah, no, you don't know, particularly Picard season 2,
Wow.
because a lot of Iron Fist is boring and there's like bizarre choices, but I still usually more or less know what's happening. And like scenes and
I know what's happening. I'm just not enjoying
I
what's
just don't
happening.
care. Yeah, dialogue will sometimes follow. Not Picard. So yeah, I'll even claim to be consistent with my old self if I said that, and say that I would watch Star Trek no matter how bad it gets. I think I assumed that I would still consider it Star Trek. I think that's the difference, right? It's like I've stopped watching, it's not Star Trek. You know? And that's not me going, oh, it's bad, so it's not Star Trek. No, it's bad and it's not Star Trek. Like, that's the difference. Enterprise was bad Star Trek, a lot of it. You know? I mean, I can recognize when it's bad. And like I've said before, I watched all 10 episodes so far of Strange New Worlds because I thought it was Star Trek. It's not great Star Trek, but it kind of counts. I don't know. Whatever that other crap was, it's not Star Trek. I don't know what to tell you.
This is the problem with everything you've ever said being put on the internet for people to throw it back in your face.
And then I had to make the channel all streaming, so it's even more hours of me saying whatever comes to mind.
More hours.
It
now
seems
with
like
more
potentially
hours.
a tactical error. I'm sorry. What was that?
No, I just I feel bad for you.
I feel bad for me too, to be perfectly honest with you. What was the thing you said? Eric said.
He said Eric predicted the success of the Sonic movies.
Oh, I don't remember that either. Anyway, moving right along.
All right, next one is from Ryder. I don't even know 3DC AU shows. I'd pick the Harley Quinn intro from Batman the Animated Series.
Oh, cool. Well, if you win the super chat thing tonight, then you can pick that. Now, if you are just watching the show tonight and you want to put in a nomination for an episode to be watched over the weekend, you can still do that in the community tab. Just go down several entries. It's from a couple weeks ago now, but you'll find it. It's not too far down. The initial... I'll go back and look at it one more time before I finalize all the episodes that were requested. My plan is, but anyway, you can request another episode there if you'd like. My plan is to do a lot of requested episodes and then occasionally just pick random ones. But if we get enough requests, you guys could end up populating the entire show, and then the folks that are gonna watch the shows with me, they'll also get to pick an episode as well. Enough things were requested, and everybody's only gonna get one. By the way, we had a couple people that put in like a list of 30. It's like, here's all the things I want you to watch. Well, you don't get to pick the whole show. So I picked an episode from those for each of those people. I'm gonna try to do as close to everybody as possible, just like I did the last 24-hour stream. But I want to pick at least one. I don't know what I'm going to pick yet, because I thought I was going to have to pick like 5 or 10 DJ. It's looking like I might just pick one, because we got a lot of requests. And because I'm letting the top super chatters 4 weeks in a row pick 3. So that's already 12.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they'll pick some good stuff for you. These guys know what they're talking about. Except for Ryder, he said he doesn't even know 3DC AU shows.
It's a good eclectic mix so far. Although it is a lot of Justice League stuff. I'm a little surprised by that. I mentioned this the other day. One thought I had was that when we got down to the last 3 or 4 hours, I might just watch the whole last season of Justice League Unlimited, until I realized that at least 4 episodes requested were from that season. So I'm not going to do that now. I'm just going to jump around all day long.
Nice. Next one from Chewbacca's Lover. He says, not a question, but I really loved the After Darks you did with Eric. And this is probably the 4th time I'm going through them. Really miss them.
Yeah, you've mentioned that before. Thanks, man.
Wow. Really likes those. Goofster123, $10. If you could have any actor's entire filmography to date in a box set of your preferred format, whose would it be?
Man.
A lot of DJ questions tonight. I'm freaking loving this show.
Yeah, these are DJ questions.
So much so that me and Connor just did this video. We just did our top 10 dream box sets that we would want put together.
Okay, but to be fair, this is also a very me question, because I've talked some about like actors that I want to watch the entire.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Like I've said, the last time something like this came up, where somebody, maybe it was Connor, I can't remember who asked this, but somebody asked who you'd want to watch a whole filmography for. Pardon me. The first person that came to mind was Rutger Hauer, so I would do that box set, and Brian Cox also comes to mind. That would be a good box set.
Yeah, it's tough for me because I don't normally watch for directors. I usually go for subject matter more so than like watching everything from a director.
Did that say director or actor?
Oh, you're right. Excuse me.
I thought he said actor.
Almost took it in a complete wrong direction. Yeah, any actor's filmography. Okay, that's a much bigger.
That's why I just
task.
answered the question.
Well, I didn't know. I didn't know if he was specifying. I knew you said an actor, but I was going to go.
Yeah, because I was answering his question.
Sorry, I didn't know you specified. Yeah, actor's tough. That would be a huge box set, like an entire actor's filmography.
I would think the only way to do that, especially because how could you even do that? They'd be owned by different studios. It wouldn't be possible.
Yeah, well, yeah, this is just a pie in the sky
hypothetical
situation.
But I would think that box set reasonably would have to be just like, cherry picking their best work, or at least stuff where they're on screen for a certain amount of time.
Mm-hmm. That'd be such a weird box set. Like, I would love an Andrew Garfield box set. Mostly so I can get Tick, Tick, Boom on physical because stupid Netflix won't put it out. But Tick, Tick, Boom, the Spider-Man movies, Silence from
it's
from
brilliant.
From Scorsese.
It's in my top 5 or 10 request movies. Yeah,
that's such an eclectic box set. That would be fascinating. But I would love it. Also, the war movie he was in is also really, really good. Hacksaw Ridge and Social Network. He's been in some great movies.
Yeah.
So I'll go with him. He's like one of my favorite working actors right now. I'd love a Andrew Garfield box set. It'd be great.
I want to keep doing this. Can I throw out another one?
Sure.
The Gene Wilder box set.
Ooh, but then you'd have to have Young Frankenstein in it, which is horrible.
Nobody said you had to watch them all. Like, what would be a cool box set?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I could do this all day. Let's.
Would be a weird one would be I'm not going to remember his name right now, but the Before trilogy and then Moon Knight in the same box set. What is that actor's name? Dang it.
Who was in the Before trilogy, but also in Moon Knight? I don't even know.
The main actor in the Before trilogy. What is his name? Gosh, I'm never going to remember.
Who was he in Moon Knight? Is he the bad guy in Moon Knight?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even realize that's who that was. Wow. Wow. Well, he's like doing an accent. He's older. I don't know. I didn't realize that's who that was, though.
Yeah, it was a big
Ethan
deal
Hawke?
because Ethan Hawke, that's what it is, because
Thanks,
he was always like down on superhero movies. Like he came out when Logan came out and was like, yeah, it's good for a superhero movie, but it's still a superhero movie. Like and then he was in a Disney Plus Marvel show. I was like, what?
Yeah,
What?
that's wild.
That's so crazy that they got Ethan Hawke for that. They must have paid him like the price of a house.
Maybe they just gave him a house.
They just gave him a house in California for like
house.
$8 million. That's crazy. Yeah, Ethan Hawke. Do the Ethan Hawke box set. That'd be a crazy one. Let's see. We got one more super chat from Bob the Hun. And he says, have you seen Alan Moore's moronic comments? Well, you're going to have to be specific, sir.
Yeah, no, I haven't. This is going to sound awful, and I don't mean to be like ageist or whatever. But whenever somebody complains about things that like 80 and 90-year-old people are saying, I'm like, I don't know. When you get that old, you might start saying some crazy stuff too. Like,
cut them some slack. You propose an age cutoff for like Twitter. Like as soon as they get a certain age, they should be cut from Twitter.
I just propose people consider the context of the time they're in and the people they're talking about and how easy it is to get out of touch when you get older, how easy it is to succumb to dementia when you get older. I'm not saying that's happening with him. You just don't know. And how, I don't know, like you don't always know what's going on with a person. Like I think, and I don't mean to change the subject when I say this, DJ, but I think we stick people in a time capsule of when they were in their prime, and we want them to be that person forever, and and most of us aren't and can't get close to that, right? Where it's like, you pick like your favorite comic writer or your favorite director or something, and you can't believe that the guy that made Flatliners made Batman and Robin or whatever, right? And you're like, well, you're and that's maybe a terrible example, but like you'll look at maybe somebody made when they were in their 20s, and then they make something when they're in their 60s, like like a Zemeckis or something.
Zemeckis, I was just gonna say Zemeckis is a perfect example because he made Roger Rabbit, and now he just keeps making these weird Pinocchio movies. Ugh.
Yeah, and like none of these guys are the same. Like George Lucas, an obvious example. Even Spielberg, who will still make some good movies, more misses or more lukewarm things than hits in his latter years. Some people run out of steam. Some people aren't passionate the way they were before. Having a family changes you, etc., etc. And so when and I don't know what we're talking about with Alan Moore because I haven't seen whatever comments we're talking about. Whenever somebody goes like, "Wow, isn't it insane that this person that I used to like really respect said this insane thing?" Well, he's 90 years old now, and I don't think Alan Moore's 90 years old, but you know what I mean. Like whoever we're talking about.
Something else I've been thinking about lately that we don't think about as a whole as movie watchers is like, it's just a job sometimes. Like,
yeah,
I'm a designer. Everything I design is not my best work. Like sometimes I have to get a design out really quick. It's a paycheck. I have a deadline. I have to get it out. Like all of your reviews are not your best work. Like sometimes your heart's not in it. You have to get it out. Like we can't expect them to make their best art every single time they make a movie. Like it's a job. It's their job.
No, that's
sometimes.
Such a good point. Daniverse, I like going back to the previous question. He says people just get Stargate as they get older, and that's a good point. But that's a movie I think I like more now than I used to. If you're talking about the movie, the shows I've always kind of appreciated, but
I think he meant people just stagnate as they get older.
Oh, I thought it said Stargate.
It says stagnate.
Oh, get stagnant. Okay, well that's true too. I thought he was talking about something we were talking about earlier. My apologies. I have really not good eyesight, you guys. Even with glasses, man. Like sometimes my eyes glaze over.
Dude, I have horrible eyesight. For anyone who wears contacts, my contacts are negative 4.75, which is
I should be more embarrassed
massive.
that happened than I am, because Stargate came up and I like Stargate. Would you read that Chewbacca's Lover super chat?
I will indeed. $5. Alan Moore said that superheroes are fascist, and that the success of superhero movies are the reason Trump got elected and the rise of fascism.
Oh, I see. I know it's a super chat. I hope you don't mind if I don't touch that with a 10-foot pole.
I wouldn't either. What in the world? Superheroes? Wow. I'm sorry we asked.
DJ, is it okay if I just stick to my previous statement? Because I think it stands pretty well.
Still applies.
Still applies.
Wow.
Yeah. The world is changing, and people are resisting that for good reason. And all I'll say is, I don't know. If I was real. I don't know, if I'd lived a lot more life than I have by now, with how rapidly things are changing and how wild a lot of things are in the world now, I would probably get kind of out of touch and say lots of things too, but I'd like to move on now.
Okay, well, that is our last super chat, unfortunately, so I'm going to go back to some pre-writtens. This is interesting. The first one in the chat today was from Jareth Gearhart, and it is about your shirts. He says, "Hi, Cap. I'm a viewer from the beginning of the channel. I was wondering if you could make a Geeks Not Nerds t-shirt on the shop. I would love to buy one. Keep up the great content."
Yeah, DJ, I think we should make a Geeks Not Nerds shirt. That's a good idea. Just because, like, I know it's not a brand, for lack of a better word, that we use anymore. Like, we don't have a show called that, and it kind of morphed into this. Like, the Captain Logan show is very much the kind of evolution of Geeks Not Nerds, especially now that we're a live stream channel. We just do a lot of the kinds of topics that we did on that show along with the news thing. This is long form, it's real talk showy, but it's very much that, but bigger and with a lot more topics in it. But that's also just still a fun phrase. and very connected to the history of the channel. So yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not against it.
very nostalgic. I just don't know. I mean, I definitely don't have that file. That was way before I got here. You probably still have it somewhere.
But I'm fine making it plain text or redesigning it to be some other kind of image, because I guess we kind of had a logo. We had a moving logo that that Dan's made. Yeah, no, I forgot about that. But I mean, it was still just kind of a font. Like it was never anything elaborate. I think really just a plain text thing is probably the right way to go for that. Maybe stagger it, like maybe make it plain text,
Stack
but
it.
it's like stagger it like diagonal, where it's
Oh,
like
okay.
geeks not nerd. That's how I would do it because that's what it looked like on camera.
I type in geeks not nerds into Google and it says, "Did you mean geeks and nerds?" No.
That's what it always said. Yeah.
There'll be no fraternizing between the two. Geeks not nerds.
I also, if I may, I feel kind of weird saying this just because it makes me feel old, but like part of the reason that I don't feel the need to use Geeks Not Nerds as a show title anymore is it feels kind of outdated now. Like I'm not even sure there's that much of a difference these days. You know what I mean? Like now that the geek thing has been embraced so much, like the joke was always geeks are enthusiasts about pop culture or whatever it is that they're into, and nerds are good at math. And I think now we just kind of throw everybody in one pot. Like even I catch myself saying, you know, I'm like really into nerd culture and that kind of thing. Like I think they're much more synonymous than they ever used to be.
Yeah, yeah, they're very interchangeable these days, at least. But it always has
Google
been.
certainly seems to think so.
Yeah, yeah. I've always. I mean, nerdy was always kind of the same thing. I guess you get that. I guess that like '80s idea of a nerd with like the pocket protector. I mean, Weird Al combined them. I mean, that could have just as easily been called White and Geeky. It wouldn't have rolled off the tongue quite as nicely. But like he's talking about a lot of like math, educational stuff, but he's also talking about just fandom stuff and that too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got another super chat from. No, we don't. Let me go back to some pre-writtens. Daniverse, would you rather be a detective or a firefighter?
Detective easily, although I think I would be crap at both.
You got to be in good shape to be a firefighter. Like, have you seen the training they have to go through for those? Those are
pretty sure you
insane.
have to be taller than I am.
And
also.
Stronger. You got to be able to carry someone on your shoulder for sure.
Yeah, I can't do that. And I don't think I could ever get to the place where I could do that. What about you, though?
I don't know. It depends. Do you want something that is consistent and not that exciting? I mean, it's exciting, but it's like it's the same thing every time you go into the fire. You help people. Or do you want like something that's could be very interesting, but is most of the time boring? Because that's what I feel like a detective is. Like,
yeah, it's
you might get that one case, but I've heard from someone who said that they knew a detective and they were like, it's always the husband or the ex-husband or the boyfriend or the ex-boyfriend. That's basically all it ever is.
See, when you say detective, immediately my mind goes to police detective, but you're right, like a private detective.
Well, yeah, like Bulk and Skull.
That's what you deal with a lot more.
That was very
often.
accurate. If you didn't know that Zeo stuff is super accurate.
That's what it's like.
But yeah, I feel like being a detective would be very boring. Like 90% of the time, you're just doing paperwork or like trying to figure stuff out, and then you get that one big case.
Interviewing. It's too much phone calls. It's too much having to go to people's houses that don't want you there. Like I think, and of course, maybe I'm getting this from movies because, and we just watched Zodiac, which has this, but like a lot of movies obviously will put these two professions together for good reason. I think being a detective is not that far off from being a particular kind of journalist, and obviously there is, there's a lot of like that kind of research and stuff in a lot of journalism. There's what's the word? I can't think of it. Anyway, my brain tonight. I'm gonna need to make sure I get a lot of sleep before the 24-hour stream.
No, I hope you're in this fugue state through the whole stream.
Investigative journalist, not that far away from detective, right?
Yeah, yeah. And
that's all stuff I don't want to do. I hate phones. I don't want to talk to people on the phone. I don't want to cold call people. But at the same time, I also don't want to rush in a burning building. So, like, gun to my head, I'm probably picking detective just because I'll probably live a little longer. Maybe. Maybe. I mean, I could piss the wrong person off and get shot in the head. That's true.
yeah, I'd probably have to go with firefighter just for that. Like it might just be easier just to do something physical, just not have to like talk to people and interview people. And I'm not a people person. That'd be rough.
You're maybe turning me around on it a little bit. It's like, do you want to fight essentially a force of nature or friggin' human beings? I don't know.
Yeah, that's an interesting question though. We did get one more
That's
super
a great
chat.
question. I love that. That's another question that tells you that we've done too many of these.
We don't want to say we're scraping the bottom of the barrel, but you guys keep the good questions coming, so we appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
If it wasn't for you guys, we would be burnt out a long time ago. Bob the Hun gives us another super chat about Alan Moore, I think. He said that superheroes are for children and that grown men that like them are authoritarian, potentially fascist, doesn't like how popular they are.
Now, that's consistent with Alan Moore, though. That goes all the way back. I think he kind of secretly, or not so secretly, maybe even regrets doing so much, like, for lack of a better word, deconstruction or, like, serious superhero stuff that was kind of for people that had grown up with them and, like, growing them up for a particular audience, but not wanting that to become the mainstream. Like, I also don't think that Alan Moore ever, like, hated superheroes and wanted us to stop making superhero fiction. When he says superheroes are for children, I don't think that's a, like, regressive statement. I think he's saying they should be for kids. Like we shouldn't have changed them where we have to constantly, like, question superheroes' ethics and make them, so.
Which is funny because he's part of the reason that.
Yeah,
happens.
No, I think he thinks he built a monster.
Oh, he's Dr. Frankenstein.
Yeah, but that is consistent. He has said that kind of thing before. Like,
interesting.
A long time ago.
That is very interesting. Back to the normal chat. We got one from the great and powerful Dodd.
What's up? I'm intimidated.
He says, topic of conversation: Will Poulter, Zac Efron, and other celebrities have come out to complain that celebrity fitness diets are unhealthy. Is there an unhealthy image being promoted by celebrities? Well, yes.
Yeah.
Always has been.
No, there's no way around it. I think now just more people are aware of it. And what do you think, DJ? I mean, do you think that like a lot more people now are pushing against a lot of the kind of random supplements and things, or the I don't know, steroids and all that, or are we still, like, is it one of those things where we're cynically like aware of it but still accepting it too much?
Yeah, it's weird because it's like we know all of these actors are using them because they're putting on way too much muscle in like 6 months. Like it takes years to do that, and they're doing. We know they're using all this stuff, but we don't ever talk about it. It's so taboo. Like, oh, he's just training really hard with his trainer, and he's got a personal chef that's making food. Yes, all that helps too, but like, there's physical limitations. Like, I don't know. I used to be way more into the fitness industry than I am now, and a lot of channels and stuff that I would talk about, or I would listen to, would talk about gear and how, which is steroids, and yeah, they're the only difference is they're rich and they can afford high quality ones that don't have the bad side effects that the crappy stuff you buy from the guy behind the dumpster give you. So they have top notch, top quality stuff that they can pay for.
That doesn't mean that you can't. I mean, I don't want to overstep because you know about this stuff in a way I don't. But I would assume that there's still risks you're taking even with the more high quality stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is kind of what I was talking about in the last show when we were saying that he's a little old to be Superman, because like, these guys all talk about it. Like Hugh Jackman talks about it. Chris Evans doesn't want to do it anymore. Like keeping your body in that kind of crazy shape is exhausting and torture, kind of. And they have to do it for decades because they play these characters for so long.
Yeah.
And
And
it's
they have to look
rough.
over the top. They have to look heightened. They have to look like a comic book character. And you can actually blame artists in the early '90s for a lot of this. I think when it comes to superheroes and real life actors trying to look like they did on the page. Like Christopher Reeve didn't have to do all that nonsense. Like he was fit, but he didn't have to. He didn't have to have a 19 pack.
No, it's all that like he said, the unrealistic expectations that they set up, that movies set up. And like they have a private chef that cooks every single one of their meals. They have no job. They can just go to the gym 4 times a day. Like even take any kind of supplements off the table, even if that was not even a thing. Like I have a job. I work 8 hours a day. I don't have time to cook my food and work out. And like Rob McElhenney from Always Sunny in Philadelphia has a really hilarious video where he breaks this down. And he's like, someone asked him how he got in such good shape for the season, and he's like, oh yeah, this is so easy. I got a perfect plan. Anyone can do this. And then he rattles off all of the stuff. Like he has a complete private chef that makes every single one of his meals, and he knows the trainer from who trained Brad Pitt in Fight Club, and you just call him up and he trains you, and you go to the gym 4 times a day, and you quit your job, and you don't ever talk to your kids, and you don't ever talk to your wife, and it's like it's this completely unrealistic thing. But we all just accept it, and it's fine to, I don't know. It's such a weird double standard because you do have all these people that are like celebrate normal bodies and stuff, and there's all these hashtags on social media and everything. But at the same time, we're all still supporting
It's so
actors doing
contradictory,
it.
right? Like it seems like what the narrative is no one should be shamed or bullied for the way they decide to live their life and what their bodies look like, even if you think you can tell looking at them that they're probably being unhealthy. But at the same time, we're by making actors have to do insane, unrealistic things to make their bodies look like that, and just by the virtue of putting them on screen, DJ, you're basically telling people this is what healthy people look like.
Especially kids.
Yeah. And like I sometimes have to kind of stop myself and remind myself that it's unrealistic and we're not all going to be able to be that insanely fit, but B, it's actually not healthy to go as far as some of those actors and bodybuilders and people end up going. Like that's not, there's a medium, there's a happy middle. And when you say like regular people don't have the time to work out that much or to make the kinds of food that they're making, that's not an excuse. You can still be healthy and not do all of that. That doesn't mean don't get a personal trainer. That doesn't mean don't exercise an hour a day if you have it. The average person that's eating right, and by eating right I mean like keeping to the right sugar intake, eating the number of calories that's suggested for your gender and weight class, etc., etc. Making sure that you've got a good blend of fruits and vegetables and protein, and getting the particular nutrients that your body needs, etc. I'm not an expert, but I have lost a great deal of weight like 5 times in my life, gained it back, lost it again. Like I've learned how to do this. I know a little bit, at least for myself. I feel like if memory serves, the recommended amount of exercise, rigorous break a sweat exercise for your average person is 20 minutes 3 times a week. That's all you have to do if you're eating well.
Yeah, most of it is diet. And I don't mean, when I say diet, I don't mean a diet, because those are, I don't think you should ever be on a diet, because
No,
that
diet is
suggests that you're getting
what
off
you
of it.
regularly put in your body.
Yeah, eating habits, healthy eating habits. Most of it is that, and then exercise. You can't make up for bad eating habits with exercise. You can try, but
you can burn those calories, but you still have what you have in your body.
Yeah. and you don't have the good stuff that you need. I mean,
You can't see what it's doing to you inside. Like, if you eat cookies all day and then you work out 3 hours, yeah, you technically burn those calories, but what you didn't put in you is vitamin C and iron and whatever else you need during the day, right? Like,
yeah. Yeah, I wasn't saying that that's an excuse. Obviously, we should still try to stay in shape, but you can never get to like the crazy extreme levels like they do, and especially when they drop and go back up and drop. Like Christian
that's
Bale had
not
a ton of
healthy.
issues where he would like gain a bunch of weight for a role and get really skinny for a role. Like he has a ton of that stuff
How is
catches
he
up with you.
not dead?
I don't know. Apparently, he's still doing good stuff. He was just in a movie that wasn't great, I think, but he was apparently the best part of it. What was he in Amsterdam?
Are we talking about Christian Bale or somebody else?
Christian Bale, yeah. I heard he was the best part of that movie. Even though it was
I think
kind of a mediocre
the
movie.
was Thor: Love and Thunder.
That one too.
Anyway,
Robert Wild, Cap and DJ, are you guys going to announce a Geekvolution exercise program? Well, now that you mention it, I'm just kidding. No, we're not. We'll just do the Green Ranger kata.
we really should do that because that's wonderful. I want to do let's just start announcing things. I want to do an exercise regimen where it's you doing all kinds of crazy things that I'm incapable of doing, and then me just doing the bare minimum. Like most of it is DJ like trying to make me do things that I absolutely can't do, and most of it is just me like stopping for a breath. Like most of the.
Well, you'll be here soon. We can shoot whatever video you want to shoot.
Oh God, he's gonna throw me on a trampoline again. I just know it. He's gonna make me do that again.
Trampolines are the best.
We're out of season for swimming on camera unless you know of an indoor pool somewhere.
No, we have a pool in our neighborhood, but it is closed for the winter.
Yeah.
That would have been great.
We're not gonna do that. Even if it wasn't closed, I'm not doing that. In November? Screw that.
Yeah, it's starting to finally get cold here. It's still in the 70s. It happens every year. It's like 70s, 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 and then it's like Halloween night, and it's like 30s. Like, you couldn't hold out for one more day weather? I have to go freezing, taking my kids trick-or-treating.
We could swim in a bathtub, but that'd be awkward.
Yeah, we do have a nice big tub here. Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it off camera.
Let's do a live stream from a jacuzzi.
Can we do that when we get the video taken down? I don't even know.
I'm not sure. Maybe if we prove that we're not naked.
We'll start standing outside of the tub in our swimsuits, and then we'll get into the tub before the stream.
No, we should just do it fully clothed.
Fully clothed with the water? That'd be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be
That's
great.
Actually hilarious.
That would get itchy.
Yeah.
I think it depends on what you're wearing, right? Like,
yeah,
we'll
wearing
get wetsuits just for that video.
Get wetsuits and divers helmets.
Yeah. We're like, why do you guys have snorkels? You're not gonna do any snorkeling in a jacuzzi.
Wow, that would be a low point or a high point, depending on your perspective for this show.
That is some 90s cable television crap right there.
Robert Wild says he would watch it, so we
He just called us cowards too, so challenge accepted.
That's right. All right, we got 2 from Jar Jar Ed. Jar Jar Ed joins us this evening. 2 $5 super chats. First one, unrealistic. He says unrealistic expectations. Christopher Reeve would say more like bad vibrations.
I don't know why I don't immediately get that reference.
I don't know. I don't get that reference either.
Bad vibrations.
Is it just because
there must be a place where he says that, and I'm just not remembering it right off.
He must say that in one of the films. I've only seen the first one, so.
Oh, is that right?
That's right.
You're gonna have to see Superman 2 at some point because it's great. And I like both versions. Deal with it.
Is that one that you flipped, like when the new one came out? Were you like, oh, this is much better, and then you went back and you're like, oh, I still like that one? Or were you always from the very beginning when it dropped, like you still liked them both?
I was always mixed on it. Where there were, from the beginning, there were things that are in Lester's version that I didn't like not having. And of course, I've talked about this before, but like some of the White House stuff, I have a tough time with that movie not ending with Superman putting the American flag back on top of the White House because it's just an iconic image and stuff like that. But like, I much prefer even though it was a screen test scene shooting, I much prefer the like Lois shooting Clark with a gun to prove that he's Superman, as opposed to the lingering. I mean, it's fun in the other version, but it's so much more succinct in the Donner cut, and classic. I like it better. But as opposed to the whole her throwing herself into the water at the Niagara Falls. But I don't think that second version works with the first movie, because they both end the same way. So it's just really weird. Like when people say I'll only watch the Donner cut, I'm like, do you ever watch it back to back with the original though? Because you can't. Like, they don't work together. So it's really awkward. But
Is it actually the same footage from the first one? The flying around thing?
I think it is.
Wow, that's so
I'm not
weird.
sure though. But the only reason is because that's what that cut was supposed to be. But then the first movie wouldn't have ended that way.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole thing. So you almost need a different cut of one, and you're not going to get that because there's not footage that changed that ending.
Yeah.
That changes that ending. Anyway.
Another one from Jar Jar Ed. You can still be fit without killing your body. The secret to exercise is starting with what you can do and not the maximum you can possibly do. Yeah, moderation. Just like everything. Find the balance.
I think maybe the first step in being healthier in general is like, don't compare yourself to other people.
Don't compare yourself to superheroes. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Wait, I can't be a superhero, Cap? Come on.
Just remember that you don't have to play Wolverine in a movie. Because if Hugh Jackman didn't, he wouldn't be eating like that either. Or exercising like that either. He doesn't do that when he's not playing Wolverine.
Yeah. I can't believe he's going back and doing it again.
Somehow I can, actually.
Maybe he won't have to. Maybe he'll just wear a costume the whole time. Maybe he won't have to have a shirtless scene. Although I highly doubt that he lets him do a Deadpool movie and doesn't make him take his shirt off.
I was gonna say there's no way Ryan Reynolds doesn't have him getting his shirt back off. Okay, we apparently have several more super chats all of a sudden, or at least a few, and we've only got 8 minutes left in the show if we end off at 2 hours. So let's get them knocked out, sir.
Yes, sir. We just did Jar Jar Ed's 2. Now we're on Austin Harn, $4.99.
Oh, we've just got 2 more. Okay.
All right, this is one for both of you. What is the superhero universe you would live in if you could choose?
We've done this before as far as like Marvel versus DC. I guess if you open all of the other ones up too, I would say easily hands down the animated Tick universe.
Wow. That would be quite a terrifying universe to live in.
But also weirdly mundane. That's what's great about it, is like it's oddly like a lot closer to the real world than a lot of other things, and then just happens to have all these really bizarre things in it. Like a lot of the point of the Tick is the world is already this weird. Like, you put in a guy with a chair for a head, a guy with a pineapple for a head, etc., etc. Does it really look that much weirder and goofier and strange, though, than the world we live in? Yeah, not really, ultimately. That's kind of the point of the Tig. What is your answer?
I mean, if we're just going Marvel DC, obviously I would go Marvel, just because after having read Marvels, like, that puts it into such a cool perspective. Like, if that was like our real history, like if you saw that in newspapers, like all the big splash pages in that of like just the history of all the big villain fights and the milestones from the Marvel cinematic or the Marvel universe, that I would love to live in that kind of universe. That'd be so cool, especially if I lived in like the 50s or whatever. Wouldn't be as cool now, because it would just be like the actual MCU now, where it's just like people catching everything on camera phones, like in Miss Marvel and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it gets too normalized, and you probably end up with that problem of like a thing lasts too long to the point where not enough people with powers are doing things for the right reasons and all of that, right? Like, even for Marvel, you'd probably eventually get to a place where you were too close to. Maybe I've gotten too cynical in my old age, but I think you'd the longer you went in a world where a bunch of people have superpowers, the more likely you'd get to like a Kingdom Come universe. Even though we're talking about Marvel.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it would be really cool to if like if that stuff was still coming out. If I had to pick, I don't know if I want to live in this one because it might be horrifying. But there's a film called Push that Chris Evans stars in
I
from
still never seen that.
2009, and I really like that movie. And the premise is that there were these experiments that went on in World War II. The Nazis were doing these experiments with psychic abilities, and now these psychic abilities exist and they're passed down, they're hereditary. And every superpower in this universe is psychic based, but some people have telekinesis, and they're called pushers. That's why it's called no, they're called movers. That's what Chris Evans is. He can move things, and then some people have more of a telepathy type thing where they can just they're called pushers. They push ideas into people's head. That's what the villain is in the movie. And then there's sniffs who can like touch something and see everything that the history of that object has done, or everyone who's ever touched that object, and they're like private eye detectives in this universe. And like there's just all of these different superpowers broken down by psychic abilities, and it's just a really cool universe and a really cool backstory for all that how that happened. A very stylistic movie. I really like that movie.
That sounds way more interesting than I was imagining with that movie. I didn't realize what exactly that was.
Yeah, I don't know. That's another one I haven't gone back to in forever. But High School DJ really loved Push. It was a really cool movie for my little high school brain. I don't know if it holds up. I'll have to go back and check it out.
I'll have
Let
to
me know.
do that.
Anyone else?
With the
Push?
Marvel answer you gave earlier, I would think though that you'd have to put in the caveat of, but you wouldn't want to live in a large city.
That's true.
Like, it'd be cool to live in a world that has all that history, but I just think that things would be a lot more dangerous unless you lived in, like, rural Iowa or something. I would be very Midwest and away from civilization, I think, if I lived in the Marvel Universe.
You only have to avoid New York, pretty much. I mean, there's West Coast stuff that happens, too. It's just the big tent poles. I'm safe in Atlanta. I'm safe in Atlanta.
There's one. Yeah, there's not really like an Atlanta superhero. Although, have I told you this? The superhero that I created when I was 12 was based in Atlanta.
Oh wow! We still got to do that show where we talk about all our drawings from a kid and we made up superheroes and stuff.
Yeah, I'll have to find those because we almost did that at one point. Now I don't know where all that is, but got it somewhere. Some of it's water damaged, which sucks, but I can still show it to you. But yeah, the Olympics were in Atlanta that year, and so I was watching the Olympics, and I was seeing that city a lot, and I was thinking like, oh well, here's a place that we'd never put superheroes, so let's put them there. And I had never been there, but I was in Arkansas at the time, and it was still the South, and so it seemed like a cool place to put a superhero.
Oh yeah, it is because it's the South, but it's also a huge city. It's like one of the top cities, so. That'd be a cool place.
I guess in Marvel, you'd also have to. There'd be like one area of Canada you'd avoid, because there's Alpha Flight, and they're probably fighting somebody, and then, like there's a few pockets.
Wolverine goes there sometimes. All right, we're back to Jar Jar Ed.
Puck. Anyway.
Jar Jar Ed, $5. The truth is, Captain Logan's Ideal Superman 2 is a fan edit of both versions. No one else has done it yet.
That's true, but I also don't know if you could.
How has no one done that yet? I don't believe that. I feel like someone has to.
Somebody probably has, and I don't really keep up with fan edits, but I also don't know if you could coherently really use much more of Lester than they did, and it not and have to leave out too much of the Donner footage. Like, I guess you could do a version where like the Lois and Clark side of it is more of what he was doing, and you could put back in all of the Jor-El stuff that they put back in. But your ending would just have to be straight up Lester. But then they also used too much of that in their cut anyway, because the ending doesn't really make any sense. Because after he turns time backwards, I've talked about this before, obviously, but after he turns time backwards, Clark goes back in and gets retribution on a guy who, in a diner, that this is all in the Lester version, that hasn't even done anything to him yet because he changed time. And people live by this cut and are like, I'll never watch the Lester cut again. And I'm like, with that scene? Like, okay. I still don't get that, but...
Yeah, it's really strange. You didn't just cut that scene out. And then the last super
like
chat.
They didn't have anything to end on. It was, he spends time backwards in credits. Like, dun, 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 dun. Like, that would be weird, but you don't have any... I don't know, like, maybe there just wasn't enough footage to make this cut, you know? Maybe it should have just been a double disc that had the Lester version, and then here's all the stuff that you haven't gotten to see, and not actually made a cut with it, which is blasphemy to people, and I sort of understand why. But, I wouldn't... At the same time, I wouldn't really want a version that's like, use your imagination, you know, where it's like two-thirds... They give you basically the 2/3 of that movie that they've made, and then the ending is just like artist renderings or in CG or something.
Yeah. Well, eventually the visual effects will get good enough. We can just finish those movies. We can make.
Don't see that.
We can finally make Hellboy 3 with Guillermo del Toro and all that stuff.
I do wonder if it's not possible to make. I've never thought of this before. There's part of me that wants to try it. To make a fan edit that actually combines 1 and 2 and makes them one movie. So not the two movies that it was supposed to be that kind of would watch as one, but like 2 parts of one movie, but like actually one movie. Like maybe even replace some of, again, it's kind of blasphemy, but just as an exercise, it might be interesting. Where maybe instead of the Lex plot at the end of Superman 1, it becomes the Zod plot, which you'd be setting up with the setup you had with Zod and Ursa and Non at the beginning anyway. And then, I mean, the only major problem with that is, well, Lex would just show up like he has already been in these movies, but it might kind of work. I don't know. And of course, there's stuff in that third act that I really like, but I wonder if you couldn't kind of get away with making it all one movie.
Yeah. That would be really cool. Last one for Matthew Bass, $5. What horror movies will Austin force you to watch next?
So we haven't put the poll out yet, but we're gonna do a poll for next Friday and do one more horror commentary or Halloween type movie commentary, and he has put on the list Christine and Candyman, which are both movies I've always meant to see, and that's why he's doing that. And then I'm gonna put 28 Days Later and The Ring on the list. The Ring, which he's actually a big fan of too, and 28 Days Later, which he's never seen. So, although maybe I'll change it. Maybe I should put something there that he hasn't seen, since he picked 2 things I haven't seen. Because I could put Flatlanders on that list, but that'll never win. So there's no reason. There's no point in doing that. It won't win.
You can override. You can override it. You're the boss.
Oh, no, I can't, though, because that's a Patreon perk. I wouldn't do that to the patrons.
Oh, such a good guy.
I'm not going to have something win a poll and then be like, yeah, you know what? No, if the thing that I wanted to win doesn't win, we're not. We're doing my thing.
Well, that's all we got ending on the horror movies that you're about to watch. I'm glad you had a very concrete answer for that one. That was great.
Yeah.
There was a right answer for that
I went back and looked to see what he sent me earlier today, because I happened to actually know what it would be. Well, we're also at 2 hours, so thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Hope you had a good time. What a great assortment of questions tonight. This was wonderful, and it was a lot of fun racking our brains about movies, DJ.
Yes, and I love the questions tonight. Great job, guys. Keep them coming. I was looking to count up the tally of the scores.
Oh, yes, thank you.
And I don't know.
It was a fight tonight.
It was, I think Goofster might have taken it, because he put that. Yeah, I think Goofster won with 30.
Wow.
$30, because we had a couple other 20. Matthew Bass had 10, 10. Yeah. So yeah, I think he definitely won with 30. So good job, Goofster. 1, 2, 3.
Thanks, man. I think he might have won one of the other nights as well, but he wasn't the last one, so I will still allow it, certainly. So make sure to send me an email, and my email, if you don't already know where to find it, is in the About page on Geeklusion on YouTube. And thanks a lot, everybody, for being here. So I'll see you again, everybody that is that is planning on coming out for any part of the DCAU 24-hour stream. It's going to be a really good time. Grab your discs, get your HBO Max. Like I said, the shows we'll be watching will be from Batman the Animated Series, including the new Batman Adventures, of course, of which we've already gotten several requests for. We're actually not going to be doing a lot of Batman TAS because I've done commentaries on so many of those already. Whenever anybody threw out several suggestions, I went ahead and tossed out any of the first couple seasons of Batman because I've done so much of that. So it's going to be real Justice League heavy. But there's also going to be, like I said, at least 4, if not more, episodes of New Batman Adventures. There's only, I think, 20 episodes of that show. And then Superman, Justice League Unlimited, and Static Shock will only do a couple episodes of. We'll probably just do the episodes that were requested for that show. But anyway, that's what we'll be doing tomorrow. So thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Tomorrow into Saturday, it's gonna be insane.
You are a crazy man.
No,
you're a crazy man.
I'm nuts. We'll see how it goes. But I've done this once before, and it shockingly kind of worked out. This time, if all goes according to plan, we'll actually be able to save the shows, and they'll still be on the channel. I haven't decided if I'm going to break it up into 2 or 3 streams yet. You can actually now, DJ, technically stream forever if you want to, but you can't save the videos. I don't know if you know this. You can keep a stream running because there's like, radio streams and stuff now that just go on forever. But the cutoff for saving the video now is 12 hours.
Oh, so you could do a good 2 streams.
Yeah, but I'd have to be careful enough to line it up where whatever episode I'm on doesn't go over the 12-hour mark. So I'm considering
you might want to
doing
do
3. I think I'm going to do like 3 8-hour streams.
Yeah, that's probably smart.
Because then I don't have to worry about that cutoff at all. If we go an extra half hour or an hour, we're good. So I'll probably just break it into 3 parts. But pop in for that, folks, and you'll see other people that you recognize. I'm not even going to tell you who yet. It'll be a surprise. But anyway, thanks a lot for being here, and we'll see you real soon. I was Captain Logan. This was DJ Martinez.
Bye, guys. Had so much fun tonight.
This was great. Bye, everybody.